Hello, welcome to Chat Corner. In this video, we're going to be sitting down with people who are both Japanese and Black and talking about their experiences, as well as sitting down with some families and discussing the ins and outs of raising biracial children in Japan. Hope you enjoy.
So my name is Alonzo, and I'm from originally San Francisco in the US, and I was pretty much born and raised there my entire life.
Hi, my name is Tristan Hampton. I'm originally from New Jersey, kind of grew up in New York in that whole area. This is my daughter, Mia Callista Hampton. My wife is also June Hampton. We've been dating for 9 years, and we've been married for 5 out of that. Actually 6 out of that. She'll get a little mad at me later.
You want to do it again?
No, it's okay. I think it's better that way.
Okay, so my name is Sanjay. Been here for about 5-6 years. I'm from Atlanta, California.
My name is Yuri, and I'm from here in Tokyo. Living.
Yes.
Yes. I used to live in Australia for 5 years, and we've been together for 3 years. Yeah. And this is Jaden.
名前はマリアです。出身は大阪で、今は東京にいます。仕事で東京に来ました。
How's my life changed become after a parent? One thing I can definitely say is the environment. Having a baby here, just having more time to spend with her, dealing with challenges that I wouldn't have back at home, being farther away from parents, raising a bilingual, biracial, daughter here in Japan.
Favorite thing about being a parent, I would have to say, just like coming home from work, and then him running to the door, big smile, hearing little footsteps. That's the greatest thing, just being his dad is the greatest thing.
For me, it's just everything. Just having him every day in my arms is just so special every day.
As it pertains to what I really enjoy specifically is the anime Yu Yu Hakusho. I watched that so much. I remember that the most, like my favorite anime of all time, And also like there's, Doraemon, Anpanman, like I saw all those things contrasted to like Power Rangers and, those different kind of cartoons. So I guess I got the best of both worlds.
なんか NHK でやってた天才テレビくんっていう子供向けの番組があって、それを毎日見てました。クイズショーじゃないけど、子供たちが主役の番組でなんかゲームしたり、歌歌ったりとか、子供向けの教育番組で、それが好きだったのはそこに出てくる子供たちがすごいいろんなハーフの黒人のハーフの子もいたり、白人のハーフの子もいたり、日本人の子供もいたりして、すごい小さいけどダイバーシティみたいなのが見れて好きでした。
Customs and traditions, I like the whole general idea of Thanksgiving, or family getting together, cooking, just chilling. Christmas time as well. Just want him to feel like a family,
Right now, he's the only one American in my family or the Japanese family, and he's grown up in the Japanese culture, I think more than the American culture. So I would like to have more diversity culture.
Some Japanese traditions I would like her to kind of grow up with. I would definitely say pretty much the Japanese holidays. The 357, like Hinamatsuri. New Year's actually is a really big one. Like in America, we have Thanksgiving, which is a family holiday. But in Japan, New Year's is also a family holiday. So, I'd like to continue doing both of those as we grow up.
My mother would always have I can't remember the name at the moment, but it's osechi, thank you. Osechi, thank you. So we would always have that. But for me, that was normal. And my father, he would always make black eyed peas with collard greens.
ハーフっていう言葉やんね。私自身は個人的な意見としては別に気にしてなくて、ネガティブな意味合いはあんまり持ってない。ただ英語でハーフって書かれるとちょっと違和感はあるけど、日本語でもハーフっていう言葉は多分そのミックスのルーツを持った人たちっていうもう日本語として出来上がってる成り立ってるかなと思うので、個人的にはあんまり気にしてないです。
How do I feel about the term half? I mean, I don't really have any bad, feelings towards the term.
Honestly, I don't really I don't really feel any special having mixed kids.
For me in general, I prefer the word mixed and half because the word hafu in Japan comes with a lot of hidden meanings. Like if you say someone's half, basically, it can be, there's a lot of negatives more than there's actually positive. So in my generation, as her growing up, I prefer her to hopefully, say it's like I'm not half, I'm mixed.
Yeah, I feel like there were times where I would switch between two identities. In the US, I feel like I had a lot of more Japanese tendencies. Some people would think I'm too polite, or like shy and, very introverted. But in Japan, sometimes I find myself being more black, like being more straightforward, not wanting to be so, what's the word, like subtle all the time.
自分のアイデンティティはすごい難しい。一つで説明するには難しいし、ずっとこう変遷してきたんですけど、自分の人生の中で。間違いなく日本人で、日本で生まれて日本で育ってるから日本人っていうのは間違いなくて、エチオピアの要素もあるけど、自分的に胸を張ってエチオピア人っていうほどは、言葉も喋れないし、そんなこともないから、ちょっと難しいですね。でもハーフっていうアイデンティティはあるかもしれない。
When I was young, I didn't really realize I was half black, half Japanese. Because growing up, I always saw like Japanese TV programs, movies, music, it was always there. And also, on the other side, like he always made gumbo and, all the good stuff.
めっちゃあると思います。時々どこのハーフって言われて、そのアメリカのハーフって嘘ついてみたことがあるけど、なんかリアクションは結構違うなと思ってて、やっぱアメリカのハーフやでって言ったらかっこいいってなるけど、アフリカのエチオピアって言うとどこみたいな、お父さん貧乏なんじゃないみたいなリアクションが多いから、すごくみんな偏見を持ってるなっていうのは、思いますね。
First, I've already got the stereotypical, well, she's half, so in Japan standards, she's going to grow up to be like some sort of tennis athlete or basketball athlete. Either that or she's going to become a singer or an actor. And like for me, I just want what's best for her and what she wants.
My mother would speak to me in Japanese, but I would always respond in English because I was very lazy. She would say something like, come get dinner, like, "Gohan dekitayo." I'm like, okay, mom, I'm coming, stuff like that. But I was too lazy to respond in Japanese. I understood what she was saying, but I just never really cared about speaking it, My mom actually asked me, she said, did you want to go to Japanese Saturday school? I said, no, because I was like, why do I want to go to school 6 days a week, Because at the time I was really into sports.
I mean, usually we get a lot, the old people, they love him for some reason, he gets mad love from old people. And then, of course you get stares and here and there, but everything is really positive.
I think to me, it's different from Sanjay because I'm from Tokyo. I'm Japanese, so having gaijin husband is it's like he says, lots of people staring at him, not only him but him first, and then because he's not really looking super mixed, he's more Asian face, so people kind of staring at him more than him. That's what I feel like. I don't think people are staring at us just because we have baby. I think it's more Japanese people staring at gaijin people. I think more than that's what I think.
A lot of times people are looking kind of more at my wife, the fact that she's with a big black guy and I'm the one pushing the stroller. Even on top of that, other issues where basically I'm the person changing her diaper, taking her to that, and kind of taking more of the responsibilities. We get stares all the time.
ちっちゃい時はめっちゃ嫌やった。外人って言われることが。
At the time when I was a kid, I didn't see myself as being different from the other kids, because I was always with my mother. So I was always treated like my mother. People don't point out that, I'm different, or they don't try speaking to me in English or something. But when I came here 5 years ago, by myself, I realized that, oh man, I'm different.
Had people come up and I've heard the mother stuff about basically, oh, look at this, gaijin kid, half kid, and she doesn't have a purebred, should be more purebred and whatnot, which I'm just I don't say anything, but definitely already see issues at that.
自分が日本人と思われてないなと思ったことは、ちっちゃい時からよくあるけど、例えば具体的なことで言うと、アルバイトとか学生時代に結構もう露骨にちょっとハーフの子は取れないって言われて断られたこともあるし、不動産とかも全部が全部じゃないけど、やっぱりこう外国人って思われてうるさそうだからみたいなところの壁は若干感じたこともありますね。そういうところかな。
There are a lot of occasions to where people don't even see I'm Japanese, like just African American Japanese. They just think sometimes I get like Brazilian or just a foreigner, not even hafu, And when I hear that, I'm like, whoa.
This is first time for him to listen from me, but when I actually first said to my dad that I'm dating with Black American, he said never go with Black first. That's first thing he said. So I said to him I don't want to talk to you anymore. But now him and he loves him after he knows his personality and everything, and he loves Jaden. He knows that everything is going okay between him and me and Jaden, so he loves him. So, but first thing he said to me was that made me really upset.
There are cases to where I feel like I'm just foreigner because I am Japanese. I have heritage, but as it pertains to being here, I feel like I am a foreigner because I wasn't born here. I wasn't raised here. I might have visited here many times, but I'm not from here. So I always felt like, yeah, half who I am, but I feel also a foreigner, I guess you could say. On the trains, sometimes I sit down next to someone and someone will just get up. That kind of experience. I think many foreigners have that experience as well.
Like if they see us sit together, they'll just get up and move away from her. Sometimes I've seen that happen. I think some of the differences in Black experiences, basically being raised in America and then being raised as basically a mix here in Japan, she wouldn't face as much, I guess, bullying as I think she would do here, considering there's going to be a lot more mix, at least in America, depending on the area. But in Japan, I know one of the big things is, her being half in general. When she gets older, she's not exactly going to look the, I guess, face of what a Japanese would think they would look.
自分の学校の中でいじめられたことはないけど、田舎やったからちょっとこの自分の学校の校区外に出て初めて会った人とかにはいろいろ外人やみたいなのはよく言われたかな。
But as it pertains to my experience in America, growing up, I felt like I didn't fit in some cases either. Because I remember one time I was going to private school from 5th grade, and my mom would make me bento. And I remember one day I was having lunch, and one of the kids said, "What is that?" I was like, "Oh, it's a bento." I was like, "What?" They looked at it, it's so weird. But to me, it was very normal. Because they would have like sandwiches or I don't know, like a Lunchable but my mom would always make me like a bento, and kids would always think, oh, they would say it's so weird or it's so cool. One of those two reactions, all the time.
And as far as her education, I'm really concerned, especially the fact that as she gets older, education here is gonna feel like it might take away from her, especially in her personality.
化粧品とかはものすごく美白ばっかりを歌ってるので、日本のねプロダクトはやっぱそういうどこもかしこも美白とか、例えば髪の毛とかもサラサラツヤ髪になれるみたいな、そういう宣伝文句が多くて、みんなの中にそれがいいものというか、そこからはみ出したものはあまり美しくないものとして捉えられてると思うんですけど、その意識がそもそもすごく薄いというか、あまりにもその美白、ツヤ髪、サラサラみたいなのが当たり前になりすぎて、自分たちが偏見を持ってるということにもあんまり気がついてないんじゃないかと思うんですよね。で、ハーフモデルみたいなのが10年近く前にそのブームみたいになった時も、やっぱり取り上げられてる人っていうのはほとんど、アジア系のすごく色が明るいハーフの人とか でなんかこう一括りにハーフって言ってもおそらくほとんどそのハーフモデルみたいなのがとかハーフ顔メイクっていうのが意味するのってもう本当白人のその特徴的な部分だけやなってものすごく思うので、まだまだそういうのが変わるのは時間かかると思うし、メディアの影響が大きすぎてまあそこが変わっていくまでなかなか難しいとは思うんですけど、なんかこう自分たちがいかに偏見先入観を持って外国人ハーフみたいなことの場の意味合いを考えてるかっていうのはなんか意識していった方がいいのかなとは思います。
I did feel like I was Asian, but I also knew, I was African American too. Because when I was growing up, my father, he was very involved in my life. He made me very aware of African American struggle, the civil rights movement, going back to slavery and, all the different things that were designed to systematically oppress, African Americans.
Pride in her heritage. I mean, she's not just, Japanese. She's also African American. She's Trinidadian. We're a little bit of Venezuelan. She's a mix. So I want her to be proud in that.
And I thought it was very interesting when he said it. Like initially when he told me, I didn't really understand, but he told me like, son, you are African American and Japanese. Don't forget that. But at the end of the day in America, you will be seen as black.
I know at one point I have to have just the talk of being black in America, but then also being half in Japan, which that is something as a parent I'm not looking forward to.
Going to the States is, he can be, he's half, but there's still, places or anything like that, they're still going to see him predominantly as, African American. So, as far as the Asian side, not too much for the stereotypes wise, but just the African American side of it, that's the part that concerns me.
But at the same time, I think with the half community, that's more international. So I think it's kind of more known. As far as the Japanese community, at least what I've seen, at least that I've known her, most of the teachers and pretty much everyone that's around her and her friends that are not half are pretty much all always calling her half, whereas all of her other half friends basically doesn't even matter. Her name is not half, she's Callista. I still think with one thing, at least being African American, there's certain things that other people will never really understand. For best example, the half that I was telling you about before, they're both the same age now, 15. So while she's going to school, while she's going all this other stuff, her friend doesn't have to worry about any type of systemic racism and whatnot. Whereas me, I have to tell her and actually have the talk you're black, you're dark. This is how the world will see you.
I think it's quite, they try to change as Japanese, they try to change, but it's very slow pace.
そう、日本では黒人差別がないって言ってる人がめちゃくちゃ多いけど、全くそんなことはなくて、めちゃくちゃありますって言いたい。それはもうアメリカみたいに肌の色で撃ち殺されるとかそういうレベルの話ではないけど、いかに日本の国内でそのマイクロアグレッションとか。
The commercial that came out recently that had half kids doing sports and showed them that they were getting bullied and had a lot of backlash here in Japan. One of the things I need to teach her growing up is that Japan's kind of like how America is. They're not ready for the image of what Japan is.
I think it's great that a lot of half people are being promoted on the mainstream for Japanese people to see.
People start to, be in the media and, express themselves. I think that's how Japanese people go, oh, okay, this is what it is, and, it doesn't have to be this whole stigma, about being half. It'd be more just a, common thing, just regular people.
Because I think it's very important going forward that in Japan in the future, whether Japanese people want to acknowledge it or not, Japan is changing. And Japan eventually will be forced to change if it doesn't want to. So as it pertains to, seeing half of people, I think it's kind of a glimpse into the future of what Japan will be like ultimately.
Like I said, I'm not really feeling like I'm really special just because I have black husband, mixed kid. I don't really feel special. We're just one family that, have a little adorable kid, that's all. So don't just let the people judge it is my advice.
Any family coming here to Japan, I think one of the biggest things, advice I would have is find someone in your community that you connect with and just connect with them, because having someone here in Japan, especially as all foreigners know, it can get lonely, and having some sort of form of connection can really be a lifesaver.
Yeah, I think in Japan, you grow up, you know, boom, 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 this is what you have to do, you have to be here. I think there's a saying, the nail that sticks out gets hammered. So I just want him to be his own individual. You don't have to really fall into a role of what you have to do. I just want him to be himself and think for himself. Just be his own person. Don't fall into what you think you have to do.
I think my biggest advice would be to her is always to stay true to herself. That's something I grew up with in martial arts, and something I would always be pushing her. Like, no matter what other people say, it's like, you know, people are always going to be jealous of her. People are always going to try and put her down. But the most important thing is to mostly stay true to herself and not let that get to her.
I'm really proud of, you know, coming from a heritage of people that went through a lot of oppression and disenfranchisement and stigmatization, and they're able to somehow rise and get through it. You know, I feel very proud to be African American. On my Japanese side, I guess I'm proud of how Japanese people in general are they're looked upon as being very polite, being very, I guess you could say honorable people.
まあ私もそうだけど、特に田舎で育った子とか、あんまりこう自分と同じような境遇の子たちに触れることが子供の時っていうのは特に少ないと思うので、なんか、まあ、例えばいじめられたりとか、なんかしんどい思いをした時に自分だけとかっていう気持ちになってしまうと思うんですけどまあこう大きくなるにつれていろんな人に会っていくと、なんかこんなに世界は広いんやっていうのが分かっていくと思うから、まあ、まだまだね多分いじめとかに遭ってる子も多いと思うけど、いろんな人に会って、乗り越えれると思うから、あまり悩まんといてほしいなっていうところですかね。どんだけ偏見を持ってるかっていうのは気づいてほしいなっていうのは、ものすごく思います。
As far as to Japan, I would say just be open-minded to different things. Because, you know, just because things are different doesn't mean that it's bad.
If you're like a half kid, or you know, if you're a mixed kid, be proud of it. You know, it's a blessing. It's definitely not something to be ashamed of. Absolutely not.
A new age is going to be coming.